lakini hawa sichana vile nawapenda ni kama laana. Ooh yeah, yeah. So generation, I'm the storyteller, hey, hey, hey. Nasikia walevi huota na bia, lakini kuna siri ntawaibia leo. See, I'm not addicted to alcohol, I'm not a victim, not at all. Yalimpata Samson, yakampata Solomon. Situation ugeuka tricky, kila shimo na panda miti. Contribution kwa timafisi karura. Yeah, situation ugeuka tricky, kwa hivyo musiniweke kamba kwa shingo. Oh, pombe sigara, naweza wacha bila kung'ang'ana, lakini hawa sichana mazee vile nawapenda ni kama laana. Ooh yeah, yeah.
Good morning, and what you have just heard there is the sound, or rather the voice, of none other than Grammy award-winning sound engineer Trevor Magak. Now, Trevor has quite the story, and he is our guest tonight, or rather today, this morning, I beg your pardon, on Spotlight, and we're here, of course, to elaborate more of his story, who he is, and he's such a fun personality. I've had the privilege to know him for a while and be acquainted with his work, so I know we'll have a good show today. And I'm your host, Rami Majala. Trevor, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're well?
That intro, I need to have it in every song, you know.
But man, look at your voice.
Thank
Sound
you.
engineer where?
Everywhere, worldwide.
Worldwide.
Global,
Dude, you know, I just want to know, how do you get to attach or say, have the privilege of saying Grammy award-winning sound engineer? And not on just anything. In fact, let me just tell our audience, it is on Burna Boy's
Twice as Tall.
Twice as Tall.
Yeah.
You know, the African giant.
Yeah.
You know, the one that featured Sauti Sol.
Yeah.
This guy, like the Recording Academy has his name on it. Yeah.
Yep.
That is really dope.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, that specific day that whole thing happened, because I remember what had happened was we were working on Sauti Sol song with the Burna. It's called, what's the name of the song again?
I forgot it, but we'll remember.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
So when we were working on that song was supposed to be the first song on Sauti Sol's Midnight Train album, right?
Yes.
Then just like a week before the Grammy annunciations, Sauti sent it to Burna.
Yeah.
Burna's team had the song, they loved it. They were like, this song has to be on our album, right? So then after that, it's just a week later, I was talking to a friend of mine who was actually also assisting in mixing the record. He's called Jesse.
Yeah.
Amazing human being. Asked me what I worked on in terms of the song. And then we just ended up like having that whole conversation together and working on the project together, and it was a blast. I mean, that the same time when I just had that, okay, it's Grammy, like annunciations and banners, just what, I switched off my phone because I knew that day my phone is going to go crazy.
And
when I woke up, I actually went to bed knowing that information. Woke up in the morning, I turned on my phone froze for like a good 30, 45 minutes because I was getting calls, messages, Instagram, like tags. It was crazy.
Life-changing, life-changing.
It was amazing.
And, you know, on that note, we do have a question of the day. So if you're curious to know what it takes to be a Grammy-winning engineer, are you curious to know what it takes to be a Grammy-winning engineer? Well, ask Trevor your burning questions. He is here. He will be able to answer you. He's ready to engage you, tell you the process, you know. And Trevor has quite the story, because before all this happened, right, you began somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've produced Sauti Soul, BN, Savara, Ben Soul, Okello Max. Can I just go on? Like, I feel like now I'm bragging for you.
It's too bad. It's too bad. Sometimes even I forget until someone reminds me. Because once I do a project, it's just like, what's the next thing? Currently, like even right now, we just finished Charisma's album, so that's out of the way. He's really winning in life. He has like 1 million streams on Spotify on his song. Jeez, I keep forgetting the name of the song.
Like
It's just
how
like
much
once
work
I'm
you
done,
have.
I do so much. I lose track of things most of the time until I hear, I'm like, oh,
I worked
did
on
that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So how did it all begin? Where did it all start?
Wow. It started from, should I start like from the mixing perspective or like just the whole journey
The
as
whole
me?
inspiration, the beginning, even what your inspiration was.
Wow.
Do you have your parents on there? Was it a friend?
Yeah, so.
Was it someone you saw?
Well, so like from my dad's side, literally all of my dad's siblings are musicians, apart from him. He was the only one who is like a bookworm person, smart. So I ended up just following that line of, I guess, the generation. So I used to live in Kisumu, and I used to play music in a band. I used to sing with Max actually in the same band when we were in Kisumu. So studied in Maseno, did my thing in mass communication, interestingly.
Look at
for
you.
A minute.
You can present the show.
Just, you get. And then now, I got an opportunity to do Coke Studio Africa. That's in 2016. So when I went there as an intern, and I used to get lyrics from artists and then put on the teleprompter. So like when artists are performing, artists can read the lyrics. So in case they forget, because sometimes what we would do is we'd get like, if you're an artist, for instance, and then get Sauti Soul, then Sauti sings your song and you sing Sauti song. But then sometimes because it's fresh, you have to get the lyrics like put for you on a teleprompter. So when you're performing on stage, you remember. So we started with that, built the whole thing when I was at Cook Studio. Then I moved from an intern to a music production coordinator while in Cook Studio. That's actually when I met also Sauti. And I mean, we just started chatting after that. Later on, we met in a couple of studios outside. And I mean, I guess that's where it all began.
So how are these sessions like? You know, when someone says they're mixing and mastering, and then to be on the albums that you have, which people hear, and now you're the engineer, you're the, let me say, the technician, you know, like the doctor, let's put this here, let's put this here, you know, put this lyric, you know, have that. How did that process begin, and how was it, you know, just being around all that?
Well, it's pretty simple, but difficult at the same time. You know, like, from my perspective, I feel like these days you find most of the time our parents just feel like you go to a room somewhere, record in your bedroom quickly, put the music out. It's actually a little bit more complex than that because, well, first of all, sometimes the process is different. So sometimes, like, Ben will come with a guitar, or like whichever artist will come with a guitar, be like, yo, I was listening to this song and give me this kind of inspiration. Then I played this chord progression and it sounds like this, then came up with these lyrics, but I'm kind of stuck till here. So what do you think we should do? So sometimes we start from thinking about the topic of what we want to sing about. Is it going to be love? Is it going to be, what are we talking about? Then from there, we kind of like build a mood, like a theme towards it musically. So the chord progression might be a bit too like rigid for the song. So we have to play around with the chord work to kind of like, what kind of feeling is it giving us? Is it giving us like mellow vibes? Is it giving us, you know, happy vibes? So we always need to go about this whole thing, just trying to figure out the balance of where it lands. So once we have that, we're rolling. So get the chord progression, create the beat, the artist vibes to the beat, writes. We joke around with the lyrics. Sometimes we come up with really crazy ideas. And
I have heard them on the lyrics.
They're definitely on the lyrics. You still like this, you're like, what? even sometimes I get surprised because you think about it, you're like, how does this person think about this thing? Because in a normal day, I wouldn't, you know, but it's really fun. At the end of the day, it's super, super fun.
And can you tell in that moment that this is going to be a hit? You see, for example, Pombe Sigara, you know, by Nviri. Like, also, that was my jam for quite a minute. Like, this is the thing, you know, this is the rhythm, you know, it takes you to. So, could you tell it's going to be a hit?
Well, I'd say yes, in a way, because, you know, I guess once you do it for a while, you can kind of tell, and like as we keep going over the years, you kind of realize people's attention span in a shortened. So the thing that you need to grasp, especially when creating music, is you need to think about the first 5 to 10 seconds. Like, if you can't captivate anyone between the first 5 to 10 seconds, just know that.
I see. So it has to happen for you guys in the studio first, before anyone else.
Exactly. We have to feel it. Like, if you're fully vibing to it and feeling it in the studio, we just know. Because it has to start with the artist. Because you see, he's expressing himself or herself artistically. So if they don't also like fully feel it like that, then it's also,
I see. Yeah. And what is mastering from a sound perspective? What does that actually mean?
How do I put it?
Why are you sighing?
No, I'm trying to figure out the best layman's way to put it. So like it can be easily understood. It's kind of like how when you bake a cake, you have all the ingredients. That's basically what mixing is. Mastering is kind of like putting the icing, the cherry, the different flavors. Because basically what mastering does, it ensures that, you see, the kind of speakers we have in the studio are very different from people's home theaters, people's phones. And people's phones, people listen to audio on their phones in mono, not in stereo. So most of the time when you're mastering so that you ensure how it sounds in the studio translates almost identically to how it sounds on the phone, how it sounds in your home theater system, how it sounds in your car, right? Because most of the time you listen to the songs and you listen to it in the studio and you're bumping to it, you go to the car, you find that, Jesus Christ, the bass is too much, you can't hear the lyrics, the guitars are too bright, so when you listen in earphones, you get too tired of it. So yeah, it depends.
So is that why, for example, let's say, for example, on different platforms like Spotify, iTunes or so, you have the Adobe option, you know, listen in this particular stereo, or
Dolby Atmos.
Yes, Adobe Atmos, you know, all around.
Surround sound.
Yes, surround sound. So what does that exactly mean?
Right. So
and when you choose that option also.
Right. So what Dolby Atmos does basically is, when you're listening to a performance, is you imagine it's like you're inside the song. So you can hear when when you turn your head, you can feel like the artist has moved to that side, right? So it kind of like focuses your experience. It makes you feel like you're in a live show. And you're like in the center of it. You can hear the guitars playing right behind you. You can hear the bass guitar just moving. It's like it's a more interactive way of listening to audio. I see. Just the same way when you go to the cinemas, you can always feel like when the car is coming from the back, or like the plane is zooming 3D past.
Stuff.
Exactly. So it's literally the same experience, but it's just more enhanced. In Dolby, you can hear it like you're in the music, right? But in stereo, it's not the same.
So when we have artists doing live recording of their albums, is it easier to produce the same quality, or way harder? I'm imagining it's harder than when you're doing it in studio.
Well, I'd say it also depends on the equipment, because you see, when you're recording with really high quality equipment, it becomes easy, especially, and then as well if you're playing with great musicians, because most of the time, I'd say luckily for me, I've been able to be in a space where I'm just working with really fantastic musicians, right? So you find they'll get the best of the best guitarists, best vocalists. So when you place them in the right spaces, when you just press record, it's go. It's a done deal. It's easy, because recording live is, you do a bunch of takes, right? And then now, after you listen to the one that you like most, then you do something called overdubs, right? So you go back to the studio with now
like
the
laying
main
of
artist.
Sound now?
Now the artist decides, okay, I feel like this part, I didn't bring out the consonants well, so can I redo this, just this specific part?
You're really a musician, consonants.
So you have to go to that frame, edit it. The same thing, you just do that with all bits of the music, like from the guitars, because music is basically, it's a loop. So you get, depending on something called a time signature, if you're doing it in 4/4, 4/4 is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's the BPM, that's the count. There's something called 3/4. Do you have the metronome? The BPM is the metronome.
Oh, I see, okay.
It has different names. It's called the click track, the metronome, the BPM. It's beats per minute. So, right,
see,
that's
like
what it means. Yeah. So what happens is like, once you have the 4/4 loop, you can literally go about just duplicating the same thing, and then once in a while maybe just switching the chord progression in the same time signature.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, take us to your typical studio session, right? Because you also sing, and I'm going to put you on the spot for that. I mean, we already did because we showcased you playing Pombe Sigara on the guitar. So you have to do this for us. Like, I want you to explain and take us through chord, whatever arrangements and mixing and mastering and engineering. Because I already got your Grammy conversation. Like, take us through your typical.
Right.
Studio.
So I can't say I have exactly a typical way of doing it. With different artists, you have the thing with music, which I love the most,
like
right?
Bien, how it goes.
Yeah. So like let's say for instance with Bien. Bien is he's a brilliant, extremely brilliant person to work with, right? He comes in the studio, he's full of good vibes, good energy. He has songs that he's pre-written. Sometimes he writes songs on the spot, but most times when he's feeling like, I don't feel like I want to work on a song that I've written before, let's start something new. So he will take the guitar, he will start jamming, right? That's mostly how he does it. Okay. And then after that, we kind of like listen to what he's coming up with. Then we steer it like together towards a direction that we say, maybe this is too corny, maybe let's try this direction. That's what it looks like in the beginning, basically. And then, of course, in his sessions, sometimes he writes alone. Sometimes we have Ben Soul in the room. Sometimes we have someone called Eugene. Yoya Tajiri. He's part of the Watendawili members. Yeah. These are brilliant songwriters. They're the best of the best. So you see, when all the best are in the same room,
it's fire.
It's fire. It's magical. Everybody comes up with their own cheesy lines. Ben Soul comes up with something that is just Ben Soul. Like when you listen to it, just know this has to be a Ben Soul line.
I see.
Same thing as Eugene and BM. So we just come together, think of a hook. Most of the times we start from the perspective of thinking of what will the chorus sound like. You see, like how Pombe Sigara was, is you have to think of what will hook somebody to the song. That's basically what the chorus is. Okay. So we think about that, and then once we have that and know the storyline behind the hook, then the verses can just come.
So ilikuwa inamaanisha nini? Venye mko mnafikiria Pombe Sigara ilikuwa inamaanisha nini?
Well, Pombe Sigara actually Nviri alikuwa ameiandika before it was recorded.
Oh, I see.
So it was just like ilifanywa na a producer called Wodomolo. He's the guy who actually started with Nviri and then now moved to a friend of mine called Ndomboka, Humphrey Ndomboka. He's a TZ guy. Amazing producer. So then we refined the production with him and then recorded the whole thing. So that one, I can't exactly tell you the story behind that one, but I can just tell you that it was pre-written.
I see.
And Nviri is a party person, so I guess the inspiration came from the fact that, hey,
as I'm party, I'm getting confused.
Girls and sherehe.
Like it's where he's staring
to. One by one.
I see. So let's go to another also mellow song. Like I know you're on the song "Forget You."
Right.
Yeah, that was a hit. Like it would come on and you'd see the emotion that people would have. You know, whether they're listening to it in the cars, homes, in the club, or whatever it is. There was just this emotion of nostalgia for someone maybe you're missing and you don't even have in your life. You're like, I'll never. Like, what are you singing? But take us also through that arrangement. And when you heard it. What was your emotion? What did you think? And when you said now your engineering process to it, mastering, mixing?
Interestingly enough, right there that's when Ben Soul had just gotten signed to Soul Generation, by the way. It was during quarantines, like the quarantine period. Yeah. So I used to live in the studio. I basically still live in the studio these days. So I used to live with Ben Soul for 2 months. So I would wake up and practice piano. All the songs from quarantines, Pedi, Forget You, all those songs were created from, I used to wake up in the morning, open the doors, jam, like have a jamming session on the piano. Then he would come and we would jam together and he would write and then we just move about it. So that period, we were not even thinking that we want to do a song for the audience. We just used to just be like, tuna feel like tunataka kuandika song, to record, to post. So we started it from, I can't remember if it's Forget You, that was the first one. But we used to record every Monday and then work on it Tuesday, Wednesday, post it on Thursday.
I see.
Yeah.
Because so, I've been busy.
Aki, imagine. So tulianza kufanya tu kitu tukasema tufanye kitu inaitwa quarantines. So every week we would do it ile yenye tunaandika song like during the weekend ama weekday, alafu we work on it during the week, we post it on Thursday. Evo, and it was that project was not funded. It was ilikuwa tu sisi tu. Me and Ben Soul waking up, jamming, and then adding our friend. It's called Rodman. Short it is an excellent videographer. Comes on board. He was like, concept ni, this is the space to wake a piano. In fact, that piano he played, that's the piano we used to wake up and jam with.
Oh, I see.
Forget You, yeah.
So did you guys cry? Like, were you crying in the studio when that song was on? It's okay, men cry, and it's healthy.
That's so funny because I just watched something from Tyrese a couple of days ago when he was saying,
I saw that
too. Give me the tissue. Black men cry.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
So did you cry?
No.
It's okay.
But it was emotional. It was really emotional. I think the first time he wrote it, he didn't write it from, because later on he ended up doing a different version of it, of which he did it for his mom, because Ben Soul's mom passed away. And then he was just, that song just worked for that. Yeah, but intention of writing it, it was just different. It was just different. Yeah. It was more from a love perspective. Yeah. The lover that you'll never forget. So
that's why I'm asking you, like, did it, like in that moment, did he come from a place, or he just was like, I just remember, is it nostalgia, or something that he felt could resonate with the audience? Because artists write from different things. 100%. And then it's your job, you guys, to like, okay, let's have this tune to marry this. So was it from? Yeah, for if I remember clearly, I think for him it was mostly from what he felt at that time. Yeah, so, I mean, the interesting thing with any songwriter that I've worked with, or most songwriters that I've worked with, they know how to put themselves in a situation. Ben will come here right now, and he will write a song that will make you feel like, hey, lewa. But it's just like they have done it for so long, they've understood how to, like, just set themselves in people's shoes. So most of the time they write from people's perspectives. So we're about to go on a break, Trevor. Na lazima uchimbie Forget You. Ama Pombe Sigara. Just choose the two, and then you take us to the break. You have to. Does it have to be Pombe Sigara or? And like whichever. You're feeling breezy, you're feeling you're feeling whoever. Hata kama inauma, utakuwa kusema inauma. Hata niimbe inauma lakini nitazoea. Hiyo ndo vibe sasa. Usiendelee kidogo tu kidogo. That's enough. That's a teaser, so that when they come back after the break, they catch the next bit of the song. Utarudi na ukiimba. Nitaongeza ingine sasa, nitaongeza verse. Okay, so all right, we're going on a short break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any